Godzilla Kong: The New Empire is a 2024 kaiju movie from Legendary Pictures that serves as the fifth film in the MonsterVerse. Just one film after Godzilla vs. Kong, the two titular monsters already reunite and team up against Scar King, another giant ape who is leading others of his kind. Lots of big monkeys. I'll say some general things before warning everyone and going into more spoiler specifics, but first off, I think the trailers and the pre-release stuff coming out about the movie did the New Empire a disservice. It made it seem really dumb, and well, it is, and I'll get to some dumb examples later, but the main point I want to convey is that I honestly thought I wasn't going to enjoy the film, but I had a great time watching Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. Pretty sure the X is silent. Anyways, I heard that there is not a lot of human stuff and a ton of monster stuff, which made me scared since in other movie series when this happens I tend to lose interest. The humans we follow has been cut down to really just one group that mainly tell Kong's story while random monarch people just spit out exposition for Godzilla's events pre-meetup. I'm not a fan of just rando telling you the one or two sentences you need to hear to know what's going on and nothing else, but it keeps the film's pace up, which is quick but not relentless enough to cause me to zone out. The Kong group is made up of three characters returning from GVK and Trapper, who has a bit of a Mark in King of the Monsters knows too much about everything all the time problem. Bernie is back, and while I found him not great in Godzilla vs. Kong, he is very funny here, and also serves as the everyman point of view for a lot of things, saying stuff we're thinking like, hey, she shouldn't be doing that, should she? Type stuff. The movie in general is funny, which not sure if a lot of it was intentional, but I'll get to some examples later. The power-ups seem pretty non-needed honestly, but whatever hypes people into seats, and maybe there's some toy variation reasons. I was very wary on a bunch of giant apes. I mean, Kong is one of the least interesting kaiju because honestly, he's just a big version of a real-life animal we have. Not a lot of imagination involved. But there's plenty of other stuff going on, so we never get a long stretch focused on the giant apes, and very thankfully no long stretches of no human dialogue. Story is nothing to write home about, but does mostly what it needs to do. Monster fights are plentiful and diverse. We get a few dedicated fights for some new faces, but they never seem too drawn out like honestly I felt in that finale in GVK. Action in general also a step above GVK in my books, lots of city destruction, though no dedicated or lengthy scenes. Godzilla probably kills a lot of people just in his traveling around. Even gets some military retaliation in. Not amazing, but not bad. Just glad it was included. Monster fight choreography is solid. Overall, I really enjoyed Godzilla Kong: The New Empire and would recommend it to any Godzilla and or Kong fan, or anyone who just wants to watch a dumb, fun movie that doesn't overstay its welcome. Okay, spoilers. Doug's back for a brief scene. Glad to see him. Very glad Legendary adopted his fan-given name. I like the small slice of life stuff we get with Gia. Her trying to integrate into the civilized world, even if in a monarch school, is interesting to me. Her becoming the one to bring Mothra back was odd. First off, Mothra's back. Why in adult form and not larva form? I guess due to magic and not egg. Was it magic? Either way, the prophecy has been fulfilled. But yeah, she has this psychic bond to Mothra. Cause who cares about those twins that had the connection with the old Mothra, right? Also, while Mothra does do a little, her absence in the final fight makes her seem less integral and more kind of another instance to save Kong, who is saved seemingly before getting dealt a heavy blow multiple times from, like I said, Mothra, but also Godzilla and that little monkey Suko. Movie is dumb, no denying that, which a lot of it I love. Kong getting a tooth replaced. Wonderful. Godzilla suplexing Kong. I was laughing when it happened. At one point, Kong picks up Suko and starts beating up other giant apes with him as a weapon. Hilarious. Especially after how much of a stinker that little guy was. There's also a zero gravity multi-monster fight, which actually didn't do much for me, but again, is ridiculous. Back to the power-ups, Kong gets this robotic gauntlet after Shimo's ice beam damages his arm. It doesn't do anything major, other than is able to block the ice beam later. The beam could have just not had lasting damage. Admittedly, it does look cool in some shots, which is also the case for Godzilla's new pink form. He kinda looks like a Halo Needler a bit. Chest is odd, but thankfully the movie doesn't focus on that, ever. Arms also look weird in that running scene. Anyways, all I can tell is that it gave him a stronger beam, maybe. And I guess power scaled him to the level of the new foes and Kong with Gauntlet. So power creep, I guess, real in MonsterVerse. Do want to note that Godzilla did a shockwave in this movie, which was cool, but I'm pretty sure before the power-up. To achieve the power-up, he absorbed some nuclear reactors before going into a powerhouse layer of Tiamat. I like Tiamat, like a powered-up Manda. Some cool ideas with that one. Kong also fights a serpent kaiju. Both fights are brief, Kong's more so. That guy looked fairly cool too. Shimo is pretty cool, though the lack of explanation of the connection to how that crystal, I'm guessing from Shimo's dorsal, allowed Scar King to control it was annoying. Shimo's introduction scene is something the movie does good multiple times. It shows something that seems familiar, outline that looks like Godzilla's eyes, and then switches it up on us but with something easy to understand. It's another lizard guy with dorsals that light up and shoots a beam projectile. There's a lot unanswered, as with the Shimo control. Was there a grace period for when to check on our group of protagonists after communication was lost? Why didn't they check on Outpost 1 when communication went out? Also, seems like a miss to not have a mention of any of the past MonsterVerse movie protagonists or like anything in Legacy of Monsters. Scar King wasn't a great antagonist, but also we didn't have to spend a lot of time with him. Felt less like a big bad and more of a monster of the week. The movie was due to Hollow Earth's natives calling out to Gia due to the imminent him being able to breach to normal level Earth. So, okay, Hollow Earth is a thing, but there's also a hollower Earth. Beneath Hollow Earth's ground, there's a subterranean Earth that Godzilla trapped Scar King and his group way back when, according to the Hollow Earth natives' markings. But Kong's been looking for more giant apes, and in an unrelated event, opened up the ground so that he actually can reach them. But Scar King wasn't actively looking for the surface level. He was just sitting in his chair, watching his lackeys do something, like a slave mine that they have nothing to show for all the work, kind of. But also, what happens if he did reach the surface level? Him and Shimo didn't severely overpower pre-Gauntlet Kong, so even with his 10 or so other giant apes that have shown to not be very good at fighting, they'd probably get beat up by Kong on the surface level if he teamed up with non-powered up Godzilla and had Monarch backup. Not to mention like all the other military equipment around the world. But yeah, overall, I had a good time seeing Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. Would recommend. I'll catch you all when the next new movie drops, or for Kaiju, whichever happens first. Thanks for watching.